Welcome to another episode of Road to Revenue. This is the podcast where we talk to creators to understand the twists, the turns, the bumps in the road on their own individual road to revenue. Joining me today is the one, the only Kathleen Kobel. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Lee, for having me. I'm really excited to talk with you about all things Amazon today.
Well, you know what? We are biased, right? But we're super keen to hear everything you've got and try and get as much of that knowledge out of you in the time that we've got available. But before we do that, can we just start? And you're going to have to probably wind the clock a little back. How did it all start?
Oh, yes. Oh, the origin story of Amazon. So I've actually been a seller on Amazon since 2009, which is way back when you could actually only sell books. So that's how I got started making money on Amazon. I just graduated grad school. I had these textbooks. I was getting married. I was saving money for our wedding. And I'm like, what can I do? What can I do right now besides, going to work and doing the job thing? What can I do to make some extra money? And so I discovered I could actually sell my textbooks on Amazon. And it, at that time, like I said, it was just as simple as clicking, I have one to sell. And then someone bought it. I shipped it off to them. And about a week later, I had $500. And I was like, whoa, this is something I need to look more into. So, long story short, I've had lots of experience selling on Amazon. My first job out of grad school, I worked for an entrepreneur. So I was really fortunate to be able to dive into Amazon through the job and the position that I had with him. I learned as much as I possibly could and eventually went out on my own to not only be an Amazon seller, but then to consult with brands. And so I did that for a very long time. Selling on Amazon is not super easy. And so while it became something I was really good at, it became a very lucrative business for me to offer it as services to small businesses and brands who really didn't quite understand how the Amazon marketplace worked, but knew that they needed to be able to sell their products on there in order to survive as a small business. And so I did that for a very long time, almost a decade. And then about 3 years ago, everything was going great. Business was going great. I had an amazing team, but I was just working a lot. I had a lot of client calls. And so, at this point, I'd had 3 kids along the way here. So, I just really didn't have a ton of time, not as much time as I used to. And so I was just looking for an easier way to make money. And so with my experience with Amazon, of course, I first, looked to Amazon. And it just so happened that one day I was working on one of my clients' product listing pages, and I noticed this video, and it was a video promoting my client's product, and it was on the product page. And it wasn't created by any one of us. It wasn't created by the team. We didn't know who this person was who was endorsing our product. And we didn't know how this video got on our product listing page. So I did a little bit more research. And long story short, it was an Amazon influencer video. So I did a little more research, kind of looked around, and I discovered that Amazon was actually allowing people to post content on Amazon in order to earn on-site commission. And so once I discovered this program, the influencer program has been around for a long time. I've been in it since 2017-ish, but the on-site commission program has only been around since about 2020, maybe early 2021. And so when I discovered this, I was like, wow, I wonder if this is something that I could try out and do to make some money to kind of offset, all the hours that I'm working with the clients. And so I made a few videos, got unlocked for on-site commission. And, within 2 months, I was making thousands of dollars every month using my Amazon selling expertise to find good products, create great videos, and in turn, they converted really well. And so that's kind of how I started selling on Amazon all the way through to discovering the influencer program and really how I got to where I am today.
That is absolutely incredible. And it's testament to, I think, what I probably put down to, would I be right in saying curiosity on your part?
Definitely. Amazon is so curious to me. I mean, they are one of the biggest companies in the world, and everything they do is so different yet so similar. I'm always looking for marketing. If I'm looking for marketing advice, I go to Amazon. What are they doing, right? If I'm looking for a way to make money, what are those opportunities on Amazon? So I'm always very curious about Amazon, but it's also, just such a great opportunity for anyone out there because there's so many different ways actually that you could make money on the platform.
When I look at Amazon, one of the things I tend to think is it's a little bit like watching someone who's an incredibly good actor. and you watch them on screen, and you know, she may be absolutely completely believable, making everything look really easy, and actually you forget how much effort and work goes into that. And I liken a lot of what Amazon does to making everything is simple, but taking a lot of effort to do that. Would you say that's the same for, well, from the standpoint of being a seller or an influencer on Amazon?
That's pretty accurate. I think with the seller side, again, depending on what you're selling, it can be it can be more difficult, right? Because even though Amazon makes it easy in certain regards, like shipping and logistics and payment processing and things like that, there are some challenges that come along with that. I'm not saying it's not a good business model. It is. It is definitely still something that I do. But then kind of the flip side is with the influencer program, it's almost like kind of taking away some of those pain points of being a seller, because you are selling the product but you're not actually buying the inventory, you're not actually dealing with customer service, and yes, your commission could be slightly lower, right, than if you were actually selling the product, but at the same time it also gives you that freedom to be able to promote any products that you use and like, and I really like the freedom and flexibility about that.
And have you seen a change in people's perception over joining as an Amazon influencer, or just in general working with Amazon as an affiliate? Have you seen that change over the years?
Yes, definitely. I think people are leaning into it more so now. There was a period of time where lots of people, I mean, there's been Amazon, affiliate or associates program for probably as long as they've been around, as far as I know. But now that there's this influencer opportunity and the opportunity to earn actually on site with Amazon, being an Amazon affiliate was always challenging, just like being a seller, right? Because you have to have the audience. You have to have a place to get people to then bring them to Amazon to purchase through your links. Whereas with the influencer program, it takes away that marketing aspect. So you can really focus on product research, finding good products to create content for, and then creating great content.
You've obviously leaned on your knowledge that you've gained in your experience with working with sellers and being a seller on Amazon to actually identify products that actually are worth your time creating content for, and that are obviously going to give you the return. Can you give us a little insight into, a glimpse into what that looks like?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think this is one of the reasons why I was able to accelerate my earnings so quickly when I first got started. I see this question all the time in relation to the Amazon influencer program. And the question is, how many videos do I have to earn, or do I have to make in order to earn X number of dollars every month, right? And so I love reading the responses from people, because they'll say, well, if you have 100 videos, you should be earning, $500 a month or $50 a month or whatever number, they're kind of pulling out. And, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is if you just create videos for everything and upload them to Amazon, you're guaranteed this certain amount of income. When really one of the biggest factors in determining how much money you can make with this program is the products that you choose to create content for. Because if you create a video about something, a product that doesn't sell well, right? You could have the best video in the entire world about this product, high converting, all that stuff. But if the product isn't actually selling well on Amazon, no one's going to see your video, and it's kind of all for nothing. And so that's a really big part of my process, and something that, I've learned, from my seller background, is how to find those top converting products with high sales volume that now aren't, super competitive with the influencer videos too.
And is that where you see people kind of fall off or maybe fall out of love with the Amazon influencer program if they've not selected those products right?
I would say so, because it can be very discouraging if you're spending, 8 to 10 hours every day creating video, and then you're not seeing a return on your investment. And I know that with other platforms, say YouTube, right, it's a slower start, and that's known, right? It takes a little while to get monetized. You have to be consistently putting out videos. And with Amazon, it's, yeah, again, you could make 500 videos, but if those 500 products that you link to don't actually sell very well, you're not going to make very much money. And so it's all about, for me, product research, picking those good products, and then making really good quality content that the Amazon customer wants to see.
And when you talk about really good content, what does that look like? What does that What does that feel like when you're either planning it or executing on it?
Yeah, what I always do is well, and I am an Amazon customer, right? So I always just put myself in the customer's shoes when I'm creating my content. What would I want to know if I was deciding whether or not to buy this thing? What would I want to know about it? And so while I think, unboxing videos are fine and assembly videos are a little bit more helpful, really what Amazon customers want to see, and I don't mean this to sound mean or rude, but they don't care about you. They care about the product. So the more that you can put your focus on the product that's being featured in your video, or products if you choose more than one, the more likely people are going to watch it. And then even more likely that people are going to buy the thing, right? If I'm saying, oh, I'm Kathleen and this is what I do for a living and I really love, my stand-up desk, I may have already lost them because they don't care who I am. They just want to see the stand-up desk. They want to see it go up and down. They want to see the features and the functionality. And so instead of, my face being on camera all the time, I really focus on the products, especially when it matters, for those high ticket items and for those more high, purchase consideration items too.
Yeah, keeping the product the star of the show.
Yes.
So what's the mix then? I mean, and is there, I'm guessing there's not a secret formula, but there's probably a bit of a distribution between high ticket, low ticket. What's that look like?
Yeah, I would say it's always good to diversify, right? Just like with anything, whether you're investing or creating, you always just want to diversify. I will say that the higher ticket items, anything probably $100 or more, Amazon customers just tend to spend a little bit more time deciding if they want to buy that thing. So they're going to be more likely to watch a video. So I'm probably going to watch a video about this couch I want to buy on Amazon versus, the toilet paper that I buy every month on Amazon, right? So we hear people, saying, make videos about everything from toilet paper to toothpaste. And it's like, well, are you going to watch a video about toilet paper on Amazon? I'm not. So I'm not going to create a video for that.
And that makes a lot of sense. And I think echoes back to what you're saying is putting yourself in the shoes of the customer.
Yes, absolutely. The shoes of the customer. And then also, like, one other really important thing too is you have to consider Amazon. Amazon always, consider is not quite, as strong of a word as what I need, but Amazon is very important in this mix too, right? You always need to make sure that you're complying with their rules, because at any turn they can shut you down, right? If you mention a price, they probably won't shut you down, but they'll reject your video, right? You have to be very careful what you say and what you show in order to not only get your video approved on Amazon, to get it placed on Amazon, but then to also keep your account in good standing. I see people getting, shut down from Amazon all the time because they didn't realize things like, for example, that their social media accounts that they link to on their storefront have to be public, right? So if you post or if you link to, say, your private Instagram page on your Amazon storefront, at any time, Amazon could go check your links and shut you down. There are ways to get your account back, right? So I don't want to be too scary about it, but just knowing the rules and regulations and making sure you're following Amazon's rules and being compliant with them is just super crucial with this whole program, and to ensure that you can earn for as long as the program exists.
One of the things that you said is seeing in the comments when people are asking questions around the number of videos, what's another piece of well, maybe it's a myth that you just see that just won't go away, or a piece of bad advice that you keep hearing that you actually wish you could wave a magic wand to make it disappear?
One other piece of advice, and we don't really know this, right? And so one thing that people ask all the time is, how long does a customer have to watch the video in order for you to earn a commission? And so, I kind of qualify with that. Well, they have to watch your video, then they have to buy the thing, right, that you're promoting in order for you to earn. And so, we just really don't know. There's speculation, and I do think Amazon has changed the goalpost over the years, because sometimes we see, sometimes we think it's 50% of the video. Sometimes we think it's, 30 seconds of a video. But what if the video is less than 30 seconds? Do they have to watch the whole video? And so there's a lot of talk about that. And, people saying, oh no, you have to watch the whole video, or oh no, you have to watch 50%. And we just don't really know. And so, the goal should be to get them to watch it for as long as possible. I do think 50% is a good marker to, have your goal be for the video. But at the end of the day, again, put yourself in the customer's shoes. What do you want to see about that product? And whatever helpful information you can give is just going to increase the likelihood that people are going to convert after watching your video.
So, like, flip side, then, what's that one piece of advice that you give to people regularly to remind them the one thing that maybe they need to be reminded of, but actually you really enjoy making sure that they're aware of?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I would say one of the biggest things, and I kind of already touched on it, is just making sure you're following Amazon's rules, right? Because they're constantly changing. And I think so. My kind of mantra as far as the Amazon influencer program goes is that if I didn't create the content myself, I'm not going to upload it to Amazon. And so, I get questions about collages. Can we use collages? We actually can now. Amazon has said that's okay, but in the past it wasn't, right? And so, a couple other examples, in the past we could use music in our videos, but now we cannot. Amazon has come out and said you cannot have video, have music in your videos. And so, I think it's just really, really important to make sure that you are staying, on the up and up with the rules and regulations, because Amazon does change them. But in order to kind of combat, like, oh no, I have, half my video catalog has background music and now I have to go delete them all and edit them and all that. It's different for social, but for Amazon, if I didn't create that content, I didn't write the music, I didn't play the music, right? I'm not using the music. So if I didn't create the image, I'm not going to use it in my video. So all my content that lives on Amazon is 100% original. And I would recommend everyone at least think about doing that, just to make sure that you're always compliant with Amazon, even when they change the rules in the future.
And they do, like you say, it's one of the things that well, all affiliate programs are quite common in terms of updating all their terms and conditions and what you can do, what you can't do. So aside from the change to music, what other significant changes have you seen over time that you think, oh, it was better off, it was not as good, maybe it's made the platform better?
Yeah, I think one big change that's going on right now is Amazon is really pushing and asking for their creators to do vertical videos that are under 30 seconds. And they've been asking for this for the last, 6 months or so, just with their webinars that they do, their intro webinars, and trying to encourage people to create content that they can then pull, for their own advertising campaigns. And so, when I first started, all I was doing was horizontal videos that were over a minute, because my goal, and my goal still is, to get the content to be placed on the product listing page, because that ultimately is going to be your best shot at getting a conversion, because you're being placed in front of the customer who is already deciding if they want to buy the item that you now are featuring in your video, right? And so horizontal videos over a minute tend to work really, really well, or have worked really, really well for me and still do. But now Amazon is really pushing the vertical videos under 30 seconds, because they've got to keep up with TikTok and Instagram and, people that are scrolling, right? They have part of the Amazon Shopper app now. There's a piece called Inspire, and it is literally, you can just scroll through just like on TikTok in order to discover different products that creators are featuring on Inspire. But I will say that, customers aren't necessarily in the mindset of buying when they're just kind of scrolling, right? So it's a different placement. It's a different way to create. It's a different kind of goal at the end of the content that you're creating. So, I think it's interesting that Amazon is kind of leaning towards the vertical videos, but I will say horizontal videos are still working very, very well right now too.
And with Amazon, are you just doing the influencer program, or are you also doing associates?
I am also doing associates, most definitely. I have not a ton of time, right? I have 3 little kids. I have multiple businesses. I have, so many things going on, which I love. But at the same time, I just don't have 10, 12 hours a day to create content. I wish I did, but I don't. And so one thing that I practice and I preach is repurposing that content that I do create for Amazon onto other platforms. And my favorite platform to do that on is YouTube. And that's really how I got interested and started using Geniuslink, was taking my videos from Amazon, putting them onto YouTube, and then using Geniuslink to then not only, use their amazing deep linking service to make sure I'm getting that commission, but now that commission is coming from Amazon offsite. So now I'm earning on-site and offsite for the same content. I'm not creating new content for YouTube. I'm just using the same content that I've already uploaded to Amazon and now linking out to get more customers to discover me through another platform.
Ah, it's absolutely brilliant. And do you think that's an underutilized um, method? I mean, there's a lot of influencers, right? There's a lot of Amazon influencers. I wouldn't say that I see a ton on YouTube.
No, no. And I think a lot of the reason why is because it is a slower start to start
Mm-hmm.
seeing that money come in. I will
Mm.
say it probably took me about a year of semi consistently, posting my Amazon videos onto YouTube until I really started earning regularly. And, I was losing customers that were clicking through on mobile. And once I started using Genius Link, actually, then I really started earning regularly because of the deep linking. I do think that it's a very underutilized strategy because a lot of creators are like either burnt out with YouTube and that's why they're coming over to Amazon, or they're like, but who's gonna watch this video on YouTube? This is not a YouTube, produced video. This is not like what your typical YouTube viewer is watching. And I do agree with that. But at the same time, I earn almost every single day from my small, YouTube channel where I repurpose my Amazon content. And the other thing too is posting that content on YouTube not only creates that other income stream for me for off Amazon, but it's usually where brands will find me and then approach me to do brand deals as well. And so, yes, I earn some money from there, but I've created some really great brand partnerships where I get free products or I get paid to create content for those brands because they saw my videos on YouTube.
So can you talk us through your revenue streams then?
Sure, yes. So Amazon Onsite is definitely the biggest one. And then I repurpose it to Amazon Offsite. I am not huge with social media, but when
Mm-hmm.
I decide to post on there, then I'm taking the same links and kind of descriptions that I'm using for YouTube or similar, right? And
Mm-hmm.
posting on Instagram and Facebook as well. Then there are also third-party affiliate platforms like I use Levanta. I've dabbled with Logi, right? So again, just using the same content that I'm creating for Amazon, but repurposing it so that I can
Mm-hmm.
earn more on there. Creator Connections is another. It's an Amazon program, but I look at it as another revenue stream because you have to opt into campaigns. You can still use your existing content, but it's giving you extra commissions, so you can kind of take this one piece of content and earn, 5, 6, 7 different ways if you really have your systems and processes set up right.
And so with that, have you changed how you produce your content or adapted it in any way that you're now that you're thinking of using it not just solely in the influencer program, but actually that it's got this extended life?
Yes, yes. So with YouTube, I'll do things like add a watermark just to make it a little bit different. And then with social media, the horizontal videos aren't great for social media. So even just filming in a square so that I can repurpose it into a vertical video, so it'll be more, friendly on TikTok or Instagram, things like that has been really helpful. But those are really my biggest revenue streams. And I would say, one other thing too that's been really great that's come out of this is that I now teach people how to do this. And so just because of my seller background and because of the way that I've really been able to scale my on-site earnings, I do teach people how to do this as well. And so for me, it's another income stream, but at the same time, it connects me with all the people that are doing what I'm doing. And so I think that in and of itself kind of helps us all earn more because we can kind of mastermind what's working for you, and share knowledge. Of course, within Amazon's terms, we share knowledge, but we also are able to learn from each other and grow together too.
And that is great because community is super super important and super super strong. And as a creator, it can be, well, it can feel a little bit lonely, can't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sitting in an office by yourself or, kind of going around your house creating. It's fun, but it can definitely be lonely. So I would encourage everyone to go find groups and go find places that people are doing what you're doing and just spend a few minutes a day in there giving advice, being helpful, and it'll just come back to you tenfold.
And what was it that prompted you to start to build a community? What triggered that? Was there an event, a question? What was behind it?
Yes, actually, there was an event. There were some people who were teaching how to become an Amazon influencer, but they were teaching all of the ways to kind of scam the system. And I'm not saying everyone, right? But there were some very vocal people who were teaching and selling courses on how to make money as an Amazon influencer. But it was, breaking Amazon's rules and kind of being slimy and sketchy and let's make a quick buck because we're going to make, 3-second videos because we know we'll get paid out and it'll just be, an image that we'll steal from the Amazon seller's product listing page. And so I just kept seeing all this and then a lot of people started getting shut down by Amazon because they were violating Amazon's terms of service. And they had no idea because they were listening to people who were teaching them that this was okay to do. And this is how they made money. So it was okay, but it wasn't. So that's really what inspired me to be like, oh, we need someone out there who's preaching the rules so that the people who actually want this to be a long-term income stream and not just a, quick money grab for a few months, can really be educated on the right ways to create income. But also it can be life changing if you are consistently making thousands of dollars every month that you weren't before. It can be very life changing for a lot of people, and it has been.
Is there something that's surprised you as your income has increased over Amazon?
I think one thing, I don't know if it necessarily surprises me, but I think it's really important to know is that, people talk a lot about how this is such a passive income stream. I call it semi passive because while you create the content once and you upload to Amazon once, it doesn't always live on the product listing page and it's not always earning for you every day. There are things that you need to do to, go back and kind of tweak your old videos or make sure that you are watching to see that your video is going on the product listing page. So again, while people are like, this is the most amazing passive income stream, I think part of it is passive. But if you really want to excel and earn more money, you have to put in the work to do it. And I'm not going to say, oh, you throw up 50 videos and you can make 10 grand a month. That's not how it works. You do have to put in the time, create good videos, but then you also have to do the work on the back end, which is looking at the videos, looking at your analytics and trying to deduce what's going on with your videos and your income and how can you learn from that in order to, apply it to the content that you're going to create in the future. So I do think that that is not necessarily surprising, but a really important thing to note about this program too.
Brilliant. And you mentioned brands and getting brand deals via YouTube. How do you go about that? How do you approach it? Do you have a vetting process for brands?
I do, yes. So, when I first started, I would reach out to brands and I would say, everyone don't be discouraged if you're like, brands haven't contacted me yet. I've reached out to them and nobody responds, and it's okay. The more content you put out there and the longer that you consistently keep doing that, brands will find you. And so, I get emails every single day. And so the first kind of thing that I do to vet is I want to look at the product. I want to look at the product listing page on Amazon. I want to see how much it costs. Is it something I'm actually going to use? How competitive is it? And probably most importantly, what does their sales revenue look like on a monthly and a daily basis? And if it's a brand new product by a brand I've never heard of, and it's something I don't really think I would ever use, you're probably not going to get a response from me. But, on the flip side, if it's something that I can use for my house or something I can give to my kids and it's a decent priced item and there's good sales volume, I will happily then, respond. We'll negotiate terms. Sometimes they'll pay up front. Sometimes I'm fine with getting something for free, especially those higher price items, like anything $500 or above. If it sells well, I will usually just take it for free. But I really vet the product, the seller, and then am I going to use it?
Hmm.
Because the last thing I want to do is spend time figuring something out that I'm never going to use, and it's just going to end up, in the trash anyway. And for me, that's not really kind of authentic to my brand anyway, right? I'm not just going to push
Yeah.
things that I wouldn't use myself anyway.
What would you say brands are really good at doing, and what do you think they need to work on?
I think one of the things that some brands are really good at doing is just giving creators like the freedom to create what they want. I think automatically when I get emails that are like, this is what we need, it needs to be this long, you need to include all of your kids in it, and, it needs to be filmed this way. And, if I get too many requirements, it's not fun for me anymore. Then it's a job, right? And so unless, there's payment up front, I'm probably not going to do that. My favorite brands to work with are the ones that send me products and are like, let us know your thoughts. And even when they say that, I'll go back to them and say, listen, is there anything you want to make sure that I touch on? Because I want to make sure that I'm, talking about the things that matter to your brand while also giving my honest experience. So, I have, students and people in my program who are like, these sellers are giving me all these very rigid, requirements, and they're paying me $10, for my video. And I'm like, oh gosh, have that be the last time you work with that seller, because it's not worth your $10, and especially, like I said, I've had to tell a lot of brands no, for certain requirements, like making sure my kids are in the videos. And, I'm not going to let someone tell me require that my kids be in the videos if I'm not comfortable with that. And they're in a couple, but very sparingly. And so I've turned down quite a few brand deals because they wanted to make sure my kids were in there. And I just wasn't comfortable with it. So I think the brands can let creators kind of do their thing. The creators are going to come back and say, is this good? Do you want me to make sure I include something else?
Has that changed over time?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as I get more emails, right? I would spend a lot more time vetting kind of everyone in the beginning, because it was like, "Ooh, yeah, sure, I could get something for free," or, yeah, they'll pay me $50 to make this 1 minute video. And, now I'm just much more selective, because of my time constraints, but also because I want to stay loyal to my brand. My brand is Smart
Mhm.
Business Mom on Amazon. So it's really just a focus on products for moms, for kids, for home, for office business stuff. And, the things that kind of go outside of that realm, I realize that's pretty vague too. But, power tools, not really in my brand, like
Mhm.
farming equipment, not really in my brand. So I make sure to, kind of make sure I'm using the things and reviewing the things that I would actually want to be using in my real life.
So what's the oddest thing you've been asked to produce content for?
Ooh, the oddest thing. Uh I would say, well, so I created content. I live in Chicago, and so I created content. My the first year I did it, for this like ice melt stuff.
Right.
Kind of like the salt you put on ice. And I guess it's not a very like kind of weird product, but I created this video, and then I mean, it did okay. 2 years later, the brand reached out to me and said, "Hey, we saw your video. We love it. Do you want to do a partnership? Do you want to do a live stream? Can we send you, 50 pounds of this ice melt?" And I was like, wow, I mean, okay, sure. Turns out it was off season, right? So now I have my work cut out for me this winter. But just kind of things like that, from ice melt to, makeup isn't really that. Makeup and clothes is pretty normal. I don't do, kind of a whole lot of that stuff. But really, I get everything. A lot of kids toys, a lot of furniture, kind of things like that. I've noticed what I create for, those are the brands that kind of reach out to me. too.
And
So.
what's the funnest stuff?
Oh, the funnest stuff. I don't know. I love kitchen stuff. I love like kitchen gadgets. Like I just did, and kind of anything that like makes your life easier. Like I just recently did like an electronic jewelry cleaner where it would clean my
Hmm.
jewelry in like 2 minutes, and I was like so floored. Like I bought it. Um, or actually, no, the brand reached out to me and asked, and I'm like, well, I don't have time to clean my jewelry, and they're like, you will with this, and it takes 2 minutes, and I was floored by the results, and so I think that came through in my video, and so it's always something interesting and fun, and it's just a wide spectrum because you can buy anything on Amazon, which is really cool.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it is quite literally the everything store. Um, Obviously, you are very careful who you work with. Um, have you changed that focus though over time in terms of the brands that you're willing to, or the products that you're interested in? Obviously, keeping true to your brand. Now, has that always been important?
Yeah, absolutely. I did not do brand partnerships for the first like year and a half that I was in the influencer program. And it was mainly because I didn't want to compromise that integrity of, no, this is something I bought on Amazon for my home or my office or for my family. And so I really just wanted to maintain that. Like, I didn't work with this brand, I didn't get this thing sent to me for free. I wasn't paid, for my honest opinion. And so, really, for me, it was getting into working with brands that was kind of a different part of my strategy that I didn't do until later. And I did it partly because there were so many brands reaching out to me at that point because I hadn't done anything in a year and a half and had been creating all this content. And the other part was that when I started teaching people how to do this, it became a very important part of the program, as far as earning commissions outside of Amazon too. And while you can earn commissions on Amazon with your brand deals, it's also just a really nice other way to again have another income stream for content that you probably are already creating or plan to be creating. And so I think it's important to just know that it's okay to change your strategy, and it's okay to, especially as more influencers came into the program, I had to change my strategy a little bit. I had to work on my YouTube channel and do brand partnerships. And that's okay because it just opens up kind of more doors and gave me more experience in other areas while I'm still earning money at the same time.
What's one revenue regret that you've got?
Revenue regret. I would say any of those early videos where the seller told me what to do. There was one particular seller that I worked with who paid me up front, who I was very excited about. It was one of the first sellers I had ever worked with, and they paid me $200 for the video. And so, I did all the disclaimers. Hey, I was, given this. I was paid for my honest opinion. I did all that in the video, and they came back and they didn't like the video. They wanted me to add some stuff and take some stuff away. And man, that $200 probably was about 4 to 5 hours of my time at the end of the day, which I realized still can be very profitable. But I just dreaded every time I got an email from them because it was like, do this because this is how we want it. Whereas, being a creator, and part of the reason why I love this program is because I get to pick the products, I get to decide what I want to say, and then the Amazon customers can decide if they want to purchase the item or not.
And what is it that you're looking forward to maybe in the next 6 to 12 months?
Ah, yes. Well, Q4 is coming up. So October, November, December, even January are some of the highest grossing months on Amazon as far as customer revenue goes. So I'm very excited about that. Everyone's income, on Amazon is just going to go up over the next few months. The other programs that are going on, and it just seems like Amazon is really expanding. So you can join the influencer program internationally now. There are a whole bunch of different countries, Canada, Australia, UK, but then you have Italy, Germany, Spain, Japan. There's all these different countries now that they've opened this program too. They also have a program called Creator Connections where sellers create campaigns that then influencers can go and earn extra commission on. They're doing some beta testing with other things in those programs too. And so that's what excites me, is that, sometimes I'm looking in the forums or in a group and people are just getting very discouraged because they're not making as much money as they want to be, or their earnings are down this year from last year. And for me, even if I have a down day of earning, it's like, I take it as motivation. All right, I'm going to make sure I create 3 new videos today. I'm going to join 2 creator connections campaigns. I'm going to make sure all my videos are, scheduled for YouTube. And so I think Amazon is just growing this program. I don't see it going away anytime soon. And that kind of in and of itself is very exciting to me.
Obviously, we're talking progress. We're talking things moving, and Amazon changing. What they do. You've obviously adapted and changed as you've evolved. Has AI played any part of that?
Not a ton. I know that, Amazon doesn't want you can't create AI content, right, and upload it to Amazon. That's not to say you can't use AI. I know lots of people that use AI for their scripts. For me, creating like titles and headlines, AI is super helpful with things like that. And so I think that it really has helped with creating better systems and processes that help me save time in certain aspects. I think as long as you use AI the right way when you're creating content, especially for Amazon, that it can be very good. You just have to be careful, right? You can't use AI voice. You're not supposed to use AI imaging, but at the same time, I think there's still ways that you can use it to make it effective for your content.
And is there anything that would have stopped you from being a creator, actually creating content on the Amazon Influencer Program?
Anything that would have stopped me? No, I really don't think so. I mean, at the time, I was deep into a service-based business where I was trading time for money. And while I guess I still trade some time for money, it's really, really nice to wake up every morning and be able to check my Amazon earnings from the day before, because that happens every single day, right? Even if I didn't create content yesterday or the day before, or if I haven't uploaded to Amazon for a week, I'm still earning every single day. And so it's just such a better business model for my lifestyle. And services are great. Selling on FBA is great. Again, I still do that. But the profit margins are higher with the creator platform and with the Amazon Influencer Program. And for me, it's just a little bit more enjoyable. It's almost like creating these little mini income streams every day. Whereas, if you want to launch a course, right, that's going to take weeks or months. If you want to write a book, months or years. If you want to launch an FBA product, it's going to take months and probably a good amount of money. Whereas with this program, you can get started for $0. Yes, there are some hurdles you have to jump through in order to get approved for the program. But then after that, it's like, I do it when I can. I create for the items that I use and I love, and I get to teach other people about it that are excited about it too. So no, this is my favorite business model by far over the last decade that I've done. And I plan on doing it for as long as Amazon has this program available.
It's absolutely incredible. And you know what, we like we said, I said at the start, right? Like, we're biased, right? Like, so massive Amazon fans. So it's really good to hear that you're completely committed and won't be going anywhere. I would love to go into a bit of a quick fire round and just get a little bit of your preferences.
Okay.
So, Instagram or TikTok?
Oh, I gotta say TikTok, and that's because of Amazon. Yeah, TikTok.
YouTube or TikTok?
YouTube, for sure. YouTube.
Instagram or YouTube?
YouTube.
High value or high volume?
Ooh, high value.
Niche market or broad appeal?
I gotta say broad appeal, just as an Amazon influencer. Broad appeal for that.
Okay. Create more content or increased distribution?
Mm. Increase distribution, because I think that's how you work smarter.
Okay. Um, creator or influencer?
Creator. Definitely creator.
And trends or strategy?
Strategy. Trends fade. Strategy changes, but you can still have the same strategy for a much longer time than trends last.
Awesome. That's absolutely brilliant. So I've got one final question. You've been an absolutely incredible guest today, Kathleen. So I do appreciate all of your time and the wisdom that you've shared with our audience. But one final question I've got for you is, if you were starting from zero today, what would you do first?
If I was starting from zero today, the first thing I would do would be to start a TikTok account. I was so adamantly against TikTok for a long time, but TikTok is by far the easiest way to get into the Amazon influencer program. And so, if everything went away and I knew that's what I wanted to still do was the Amazon influencer program, I would start a TikTok account and I would start posting 2 to 3 times a day, anything that would help me get good engagement in order to get into the influencer program.
That's incredible. Thank you very much. That's really solid advice. I think the TikTokification of everything is, I mean, it's inevitable now, especially like you say with Amazon going on board and trying to drive more and more vertical content. You've been an incredible guest. Where can people connect with you after this?
Yes, yes. Please come connect with me on my website at KathleenKobel.com. And I also have a free masterclass that you guys will find on there. It's all about how you can earn $100,000 every year as an Amazon creator. And so you can find that also on my website, KathleenKobel.com/masterclass.
That is very generous. Really appreciate that. Kathleen, thank you again for joining us on Road to Revenue.
Thanks so much for having me.